Hi, everyone. This is David Owen with Chainscape Web. And today we're having another podcast, Real Producers Partners podcast. And I'm joined today by Noel Marcantel. He's someone who's done this with us before, and it's a great opportunity to talk to him about his business. So, welcome, Noel.
Thank you so much for having me, David. It's an honor.
Well, we're glad to have you. And before we get started, why don't we first talk about how to best get a hold of you?
Sure. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Noel.Marcantel on Instagram, and then Noel Marcantel Photography on Facebook. I'm the only one on either platform. I have a strange name, so easy to find, hard to confuse for somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So tell me a little bit what you do.
So I like to say that I make people look expensive and iconic.
Okay.
I take people who want to charge more for what they're doing, and then I make them look the part. So it's very hard to charge premium prices whenever your headshot or your branding images are cropped from somebody else's wedding 10 years ago. But if that's the only time that you've been in front of a professional photographer's camera, then that's probably going to cost you business from the kind of people you really want to be doing business with, because those people understand all of this.
Now when you take pictures, obviously you need to be with the person, correct?
Yeah, that's a foundational part of what we do.
Yeah. So you can't take pictures that someone else took and fix them or make them look better.
I am not a commercially available editor, and I've been asked to do that in the past. I think 8 years ago was the last time anybody asked me to do it, and I just said this is not what I do.
Well,
This is a start to finish process, and if you get it wrong in camera, there's almost nothing that editing can do to bring it up to what it could be.
okay. Yeah, technology's incredible, but it's not that incredible yet.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna improve over time, just like cell phone cameras have improved over time. But then again, so have professional cameras. So
Right.
I'm never intimidated by a phone camera. I mean, I use my phone as a camera all the time. It's because it's always with me. And sometimes if I'm not on a job, my gear isn't with me. Like, I've got a newborn son, so I'm taking pictures of my wife and my son and my parents holding their first grandchild all the time with my phone. Why? Because it's there. The best camera
Right.
for the job is the one that you have with you.
Right.
Now, that's great for memories, and that technology improving is making it easier to capture everyday memories. And then we'll make some behind the scenes content on shoots. That's really popular with phones. But then whenever it comes to something that you're going to print on a billboard, or it's going to be a really well polished ad in a magazine or even on your website, the professional camera technology is just so much better.
Yep. I can understand that. And like you said, you're not in the business of redoing technically what someone else has done with the camera.
Yeah, no, unless we're talking reshooting
Right.
entirely, because I get a lot of that. I get I just shot I shot about 20 executives in Las Vegas earlier this year, because the head of the department came to me and said, we had some headshots done, and they're so bad that I'm not even going to show my team.
Wow.
She was actually deeply upset by the headshots that they had done for their team. And so I flew out there, and we had a great day. I spent about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes with each of the people. And I was able to make them comfortable, make them look great, get them to have fun, because you're always going to look better in your photos if you're actually having fun.
Right.
That's a human connection part of it that you have to master if you're going to actually specialize in headshots. It is not school picture day. It
Right.
is not sit down in this chair, sit up, smile, click, and then, kick him in the butt on the way out of the door. But that's how most people approach it, unfortunately. Photographers who treat headshots like an easy side gig, that's probably what they're going to give you.
Yeah, they probably look like a side gig photo when they're done.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wanted to be a specialist. I don't do everything. I don't do babies. I found a great newborn photographer that we took my son to. And
Good.
people are like, is Noel going to do this? No, that's not my area.
Right.
I chose my specialty. She chose her specialty. She's awesome at it.
Yep.
Let's give it to the expert in her field.
And you only get one opportunity with that.
Oh yeah, he's already grown so much from he is about to be a month old. He'll be a month old in 4 days, and he's already grown so much past the newborn stage where we brought him there. And so we knew we had one shot, and we narrowed it down to who I thought approached newborns like I approach headshots.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I decided.
Well, good. That's so important to get it right the first time, because the time will go so fast. He'll grow up. You'll be like, where'd this time go?
Yeah, speaking from personal experience, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of technology, though, how is AI getting involved in your business, or is it?
It is involved in my business. It is a fantastic tool that you can rein in, and using it as a tool, it's increased the speed of my workflow. I'm getting images back to people faster. Like, say, for instance, in Photoshop, you can use really powerful generative AI to take out unwanted objects, right?
Okay.
So for 15 years, I'm using a virtual brush and sampling colors and textures from nearby an unwanted object, like say a trash can. Let's say we're shooting on a street. We're shooting some branding images on a street for a realtor. And then there's this ugly trash can with trash overflowing, and it looks nasty. Nobody wants that. Everything else is great in the photo except that. You would take you would tell the computer to sample different areas around it, and then you'd hand paint out that trash can until it's gone, and you'll never know it was there. And it was a very you had to do a very artistic touch to it, a lot of attention to detail. That can take an hour.
Yeah.
It can take 5 minutes if it's easy, but if it's really in focus and it's really detailed, you have to make that replacement look convincing.
Right.
Now, I can circle it. I can use my cursor, circle it, and then tell it, type in remove object, and it does all of that stuff that I used to do by hand after about 7 to 10 seconds of processing.
Wow.
You see a little progress bar, while Photoshop is processing, and then it just spits it out, and it gives you options. And you can either say, I want, I think this looks the best. Delete the other two options. Or if it doesn't, you just run the program again. Sure. And that is speeding things up. And blemish removal and blending skin tones. Not Photoshop, but a different program, Evoto, is doing a great job with that. And you can adjust it with slider bars, and you can tell it how, you can rein it in. So there's still the artistic touch that is taking a metered approach to using these tools and not overdoing it and not making it look fake and things like that. Yep. But it's essentially just speeding up the process of what we have been doing all this time. It's not a replacement. It's when people try to use it as a replacement for photography, I think that's an error. That's a miscalculation on people's part, because you shouldn't try to look like a robot if your goal is to gain people's trust.
Right.
And if your business depends on gaining people's trust, like for a realtor, right? Especially, I think someone told me that there are 6,800 real estate agents in the New Orleans market.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a lot, and you have to differentiate yourself somehow. So
Right.
if the lowest of the low are using, or if the middle ground is using cell phone photos to brand themselves, and the higher end people, the biggest achievers, are using branding photographers like me, and a couple of my other friends who service a lot of high end realtors. The lowest of the low are taking the cheapest route, which is like spitting out AI, like telling the AI to train yourself on my Facebook photos, and then spit out stuff that almost looks like me. And the eyes are too big, the eyes are too small, the smile looks completely manufactured and dead, because there is no life. There's no life in that.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in doing this?
In photography?
Yeah.
Oh man. I think seven years old, maybe. I was on a family vacation and they wanted to shut me up because I talk a lot. And they gave me a little disposable camera,
Yeah.
and I had so much fun with it that I asked for another one. And then after a few rounds of that, I got my dad said, you know what, maybe you might actually have some sort of an interest in this. So let me dust off the old Canon A1 that was gathering dust in the the cupboard under the stairs. And
Sure.
so I started walking around my neighborhood and learning how to develop film, and just falling in love with that. And then I never thought I was going to do it as a business until I was waiting for active duty with the Marine Corps. And I was commissioned in the Marine Corps, but there were too many lieutenants to send to this next round of schooling that everybody has to go to, called TBS in Virginia. There's no
Yeah.
school seats, but there's a backlog of thousands of lieutenants who need these several hundred school seats at a time. So the Marine Corps says, oh, okay, well, we're not going to pay you because you're not on active duty. Get a job, stay in shape, don't die, and then we'll let you know something eventually. This whole career that you've lined up, we'll determine when you start this at some point. Bye. Okay. All right. So I applied for a few jobs, and nobody wanted to hire anybody who they didn't know when they were leaving. And so I was a busboy, a bouncer, and started making money selling my photos for the first time.
Wow.
So it was kind of like a necessity at first.
Yeah. So you kind of backed into it in a way.
I really did. I never intended for it to be a business. I always thought it was just going to be a hobby that I enjoyed doing, because I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go be a Marine officer. I don't, this doesn't have to be a moneymaker or anything like that. So it became a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
As any other hobby photographers will tell you, it's an expensive hobby. And then I got so enthralled with the business of it that I was like, you know what? All right, now it's time to go. Like, now I've got orders. I can go into active duty. But whenever I get out, I think, my second career is going to be as a photographer.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, the circumstances dictated.
So you did go to Virginia. You did finish the school.
Yeah. So I went, I did a few years in the Marine Corps. And then whenever I got out, I decided that, paying $2,000 for a closet in Los Angeles was not where I wanted to start my photography career. So instead, I came back to Louisiana.
Okay.
Louisiana's home. My family's all here, and let's go try out New Orleans. Never lived in New Orleans before. Let's do that.
So it's interesting when you say Louisiana, you say it like I would say it when I live in Missouri, but there are folks that say Louisiana.
We've got a lot of accents and a lot of dialects in Louisiana, and I can't speak for everybody. I know how my mom was an English teacher, and
Okay.
and my father was a public speaker. So I guess my sisters and I we never developed that. We never held on to a really strong accent that my grandparents had. But yeah, I guess it just depends on where you're from and if your mom was an English teacher or not.
Yeah. Well, that would make a difference, I'm sure. My wife is a teacher, and I'm constantly being corrected.
Yeah, my wife's a consultant, so I'm getting corrected more on how I fold clothes than how I speak. So just normal. I get corrected on normal household things as opposed to speech patterns, thankfully.
Sure. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, she thinks I talk good.
So, who is your ideal prospect or client?
My ideal client is essentially somebody who wants to make their brand look better. Somebody who wants to have an online presence that makes it look like they are several years ahead of where they may be.
Okay.
Or if they are at that high producing, high end level, maybe they've never had branding images and even video now, since we do a lot of video now, that does it justice.
So, how do you get the word out in the marketplace that your services are available? How do you share that info?
Google, honestly, Google backed up with a good website and staying top of mind on social media. I post often on Facebook and Instagram, mostly Instagram, and that's not necessarily my biggest business driver, but I have people who are nurtured long term, right? Leads nurtured long term because they followed me on Facebook or they followed me on Instagram, and then after a couple years, whenever they're after they've seen enough of my work and the timing is right for them, they remember who I am because I'm staying top of mind.
Okay.
So for people who have immediate needs, they're Googling, headshots New Orleans, branding shots New Orleans,
Right.
professional photographer. So short-term leads are almost always coming from Google or from referrals. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
referrals.
Mm-hmm.
People say, or when people post their own photos on social media, they'll tag me, and then people will be like, I need what she's having.
Right.
I need to get one. Oh, I need to get one like this, like he did with him. And then they'll come to me that way. So yeah, social media is nurturing long-term leads, but Google is for short-term.
So, are you busy now? Have you been busy?
I am. I gave myself 1 week of paternity leave.
Okay.
And I wanted to give myself 2 weeks. I thought I had timed it around his due date perfectly. And then he decided he was just too excited and he came 2 weeks early. So that turned into 1 week of paternity leave.
Yeah.
And then it's just been go. We do in a 5 to 6 day week because I shoot on Saturdays as well. Let me see. I've got my calendar up here. I can tell you exactly how many shoots we had last week. So last week in a 6 day week, but I only shoot 3 days out of the 4 days. I shoot 4 days out of the week. The other two are for projects and for business development. In those 4 days, we shot 10 shoots last week.
Okay. Wow.
And this week, This week we've got 8. So it's never, it's never a, it's never a dull, never a
And
dull week.
and I'm sure every project's a little different. Every
Oh,
shoot
thank
is a
God.
little different because the
Oh yeah.
people are different.
Oh, thank God. It's just enough of a new challenge where
Yeah.
to make it interesting, but the basic workflow is down to make it efficient, and it's just the human element that gives us a nice little challenge right there to figure out what's going to make this person give us the same results that we get out of other people.
Okay. Okay. So again, let's remind everyone how they find you again. I just want to make sure that they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you Google my name, Noel Marcantel, once again, you won't confuse me for anybody else, thankfully. And so noelmarcantel.com, Instagram, noel.marcantel, and then Facebook, you can find me at Noel Marcantel Photography. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I get a lot of clients through LinkedIn nowadays
Okay.
because I'm serving that business market. And yeah, so that's how to reach me online.
Okay. So is there anything else we should talk about? Because we've gone
Well,
about 25 minutes.
yeah, I'd say the last thing to talk about is uh the human element to what I do is the best part by
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
That's what gets the results that I guess other people don't get is how I take care of the technical stuff mostly before the person gets here. And then whenever the person gets here, that is that's a very emotionally focused time for me. And
Right.
it's exhausting actually to put that much emotional focus onto someone else. But that's what gets the results. I am asking them about, when you come to me, I'm asking you about your family, your pets, your hobbies, and I'll try to find some common ground with you and, start to speak your language and start to, it's almost your job to distract people from the fact that they're in front of a camera because we've psyched ourselves out over our entire lives. Oh, this is a camera. I have to be very, very nervous in front of this
Exactly.
camera.
I can
So
see that.
yeah, we've conditioned ourselves to do it, and we're our own biggest critics. So if I make them forget that they were supposed to be that they thought they were supposed to be nervous, then the images are just gonna be a breeze from then. So if it's always important to find a photographer who is going to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
And if photographers that you've worked with in the past don't make you feel that way, you might want to find someone new. You might want to find somebody, especially for your national audience, you can probably, if you're listening to this somewhere, you can probably find a headshot crew photographer nearby, wherever you are. All 50 states, I don't know how many countries, over a dozen countries. And we all learned from the same mentor, Peter Hurley, up in New York. And his approach was, direct the human.
Yeah.
Here's the lighting. We're going to teach you the lighting. The lighting is 10%. The other 90% is to direct that human in such a way that they leave with images that they like of themselves. Because if the photographer's not putting any emotional energy into you, you're probably not going to like the photos because there's you're being strung out to dry, or you're hanging out in the wind and you're directionless.
Right.
So that's the human element is 90% of what I do.
Well, I can see how you get an interaction going, things become more natural and you
Mm-hmm.
become more real in the picture.
Exactly, and that's why the 5-minute headshot is not going to get you the same results as being in the studio. Like my shoots are 2 to 3 hours with people, and
Okay.
they bring a ton of outfits. They always have I don't have a time limit because I just work at that person's pace. And usually, I don't think anybody has a whole lot of stamina past 3 hours because it is hard work to get the really good stuff. But the results last years, right? The
Right.
results last for years, and the experience is fun.
Right.
It's a great time.
Do you do any video as a part of this?
Absolutely. Oh
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. So we started last year doing brand videos and commercial videos,
Hmm.
and so that is yet another thing that we offer, and that's becoming a lot more popular in the real estate market. Is people doing videos of themselves showing a house, or videos of themselves um, with mock clients, show just sort of like almost like a video business card is one of the
Hmm.
things that we offer.
Sure.
So video marketing in short form, like Instagram reels and TikToks and things like that. Um, that's great. That can be done on a phone, but the production value of even that gets skyrocketed if
Wow.
you're if you're professionally producing that. But most of the professionally produced video is for people's websites and things like that. That collateral is going to have a longer shelf life, and when someone looks you up, they're gonna see that, man, you're so serious that not only do you have really cool branding, photos that are really crisp, really professional, well lit, you look like an actual human who's having fun, or an expert in them, but you've also got a video introducing yourself. I mean, people wonder, well, what do I need to do to look more professional? Why does so and so just look so polished? You can do that too. They don't have a monopoly on looking
That's
polished.
true.
Yeah, you can, like, you don't have to be a supermodel
Right.
to look polished and to look like an expert.
Yeah.
That's my job, is to make you look that way.
Right.
So it's so achievable. Most people don't think it's achievable, but it really is.
Well, that's cool. Well, I don't have any other questions, and if you don't have any other comments, I think we'll stop for now. But I do enjoy doing this with you. I appreciate the comments, the insight. It's a lot of things that you kind of think about, but um, you actually did a little of this with me, get to know me, and we have a conversation. So I
Exactly.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Pulling out a couple of threads to tie together for common ground is it's important in any human interaction, and I suggest that realtors do that when they're showing houses.
Yeah.
And the best ones do. The best realtors are texting people on their birthday, and they're calling people years down the road to see how their investment is turning out. And it's finding a common thread with somebody, and then tying those threads together.
Yeah. Yep. That's great. Well, thanks for taking the time to share with us your business, and it's great to talk to you.
Likewise, David. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate the questions and the comments from you too.
You bet. Thanks a lot.